Welcome to Italy vlog 768. Oh, we're bad at that. I'll figure it out and put the right title down below. All right, so non-photographic things. Well, should we talk about the photographic things first or the non-photographic things?
Non-photographic things, I think.
Okay. Really make people dislike this video because they have to wait for anything photographic related. So let's talk about
Or they can just skip.
Pompeii and Herculaneum. We've kind of now moved to this every 2-day schedule for videos, but it really worked well for this one because we can now compare and contrast. We've been to Pompeii, which I'm sure many of you have heard about, the city that in AD 79 Vesuvius erupted and wiped out, but also preserving. And then has now been excavated, and you can tour this ancient city and see how the people lived and all of the stuff about it. Herculaneum, which I don't believe I'd heard of until this trip, is a similar story, but a much different result in the fact of the way. So Pompeii was covered with ash, and about 2,000 people died because hot gases just billowed right into town and suffocated everybody who had not left yet, and they really didn't have a lot of warning, and then was covered in ash. Herculaneum, they had warning because they saw the big cloud rolling down to Pompeii, so many people left town. And in fact, until only in recent history, they thought everybody had left town and evacuated. But it turns out that there were several hundred men and women and children that had taken refuge in the boathouses down on the shore. They also had hot gases billow into town, but these were super heated. Didn't suffocate those folks, instantly just charred them. And wood and other organic matter was basically carbonized, and then the town was covered in 80 feet of like pyroclastic lava flows, and 1700s, somebody digging a well found some marble and some artifacts and was like, hey, this is pretty cool. Long story short, Pompeii was also discovered. It was much easier to dig because it had just been covered in like 20 feet of ash type material. So that has been really excavated, and I feel like they have good marketing because Pompeii is all I'd ever heard about. But Herculaneum, only a small amount, about 25%, had been uncovered, and but much higher level of preservation. As I said, wood and organic matter, the frescoes on the wall, the tile floors, all of that completely covered and cut off from air.
So if you want to know more about either one of these places, you can check out the Wikipedia page because you should give them the blow-by-blow of everything that happened.
Well, a lot of people, when I said we're going to Pompeii, a lot of people said, go to Herculaneum, it's better. And when our tour guide on the Colosseum tour said, oh, you're going to both, I think Herculaneum is better. So if you're coming and you can only do one, I probably would do just Herculaneum.
Yeah, it was also a lot quieter than Pompeii.
Yep.
Pompeii is just so massive.
It's
huge.
We didn't realize, I'm sorry.
Feels kind of like a desert almost, and it's like there's a huge road with the ginormous cobblestones, and they're both really cool, I think.
That's true.
But yeah, the level of preservation of the Herculaneum is super amazing.
Yes.
But yeah.
Okay. Now to bring it back to something photographic. Now, many as you know, I've been walking around with lighter gear.
Well, we should tell them we're in Sorrento now.
Yes. Now we're in Sorrento.
Yeah. See, this is why I should do the introductions, because I'm better at it than you.
Okay. What do you want to say about Sorrento?
Well,
Limoncello.
Yeah, apparently it's the land of lemons and limoncello.
Limoncello, which is an alcohol made from the rinds of lemon and lots of sugar. And we did shots with a bartender back in Camoli that David was friends with. That was fun. And we had a limoncello slushy last night.
We did.
Low alcohol level so the kids can have it too. Not that there were any kids with us, but
no,
it was still good.
Very good.
Had a Nutella crepe for dinner tonight.
Yeah. We're really sleepy, right? I'm really sleepy.
Are you? Oh, I'm pretty awake.
Sleepy. Oh, okay.
I had that cafe gelato also for dinner.
So, okay, let's move on to photographs.
One downside of doing back button focus is if you hand your camera to a waiter and you forgot to put it on A, which I usually am good about that, they probably are going to get a blurry picture of you, out of focus picture of you. You got to keep that in mind. That's a downside to back button focus. Otherwise, we love back button focus. Now, as I started to say, camera-wise stuff, been carrying around less gear in general, but I have carried around my 5D Mark III at Pompeii and Herculaneum with the 24-105 Sigma lens, f4 IS, also the little GPS. I love the battery life on this thing. It's excellent. It does make it a little bit bulkier, but it doesn't add any weight really. What I want to say about this lens so far is very sharp across the range, as the other Sigma Art Series lenses are. We're shooting this right now with a 35 and lower light, so we're kind of shooting it close to wide open. The 50.
Sorry.
And this lens is sharp, like those are as well. However, I have to say, as somebody coming from shooting with lots of primes and also professional lenses that go to zooms that go to f2.8, f4 can feel very limiting in lower light, even with the IS. If anything you're photographing is trying to move, or is trying to move, I'm holding it down, no, is moving like kitty cats, wild kitty cats on the shore, which we've found.
Kittens.
Kittens.
Wild and well.
I mean,
stray kittens.
It was after sunset, but there was still plenty of light to read a book by or something like that. Plenty of light. I was shooting at like 3200, 4000 ISO to get a high enough shutter speed and to get the aperture. I'm sorry, because of that f4, high enough shutter speed to keep them from blurring. So IS didn't help there, and just really high ISO. Apparently I'm tired too, and then the hotel guy walking by in the background distracted me. We're not in our room right now. The lighting situation there was just not good for this. So, f4 feels limiting. I'm trying to think of more to say in my review than that. Very sharp. IS is very good, but this is certainly the IS that you must turn off when you put it on a tripod. I have been burned several times on this trip because I'm not used to having a lens with IS in this range. I forget, leave it on, and pictures are ruined. Not even like a little soft, they are ruined if you leave IS on with this lens. There are some IS, I don't want to say this really because I don't want you to ever leave IS on when you put it on the tripod, but there are some IS systems that are smart enough or work in such a way that doesn't seem to necessarily always matter. It's always a good idea to turn it off though. So, what else did I want to say photographically?
I don't remember.
Oh, Nick. Want to talk a little bit about Nick?
Oh, right.
Nathan, one of the, are we called guides on this trip? Instructors on this trip. Wonderful guy. Love it. We just went out and had some nice gelato. We chatted. He's got a Fuji X-T1 that he's been using a lot on this trip. Loves.
What's his? The lights just came on.
Oh, the lights, they just changed. So, that's a downside of shooting in a public area. Somebody might change the lighting situation on you. We're going to hope that it's still good. Nik software. He loves Nik as well. And I bought Nik a while ago. I've liked it every time I've used it, but I've never taken a really good look at different things he can do. He gave us a 3 to 4 minute showcase demo tonight of some of the options. I also used the HDR mode tonight. I don't usually like to do HDRs, but the presets in there. So I'm going to come back and talk to you all about Nik soon, but it's worth a look as a component that works with Lightroom. You export it out, you just say edit in Nik, whichever version you want. The black and white I have used before. He loves the color, define color effects, I think it's called, which makes it sound like it does a bunch of funky color filters. It doesn't really, although you can have it do that. Lots of different options available to you. So,
yeah.
Yes, tomorrow, driving down the Amalfi Coast. Going to work with Nick, N-I-C-K, a guy who's another instructor on this course and the logistics manager, to make sure that the GoPro is running in time-lapse mode at the front of the bus for this twisty, turny, curvy road, which you've probably seen on some James Bond chase movies and some like Porsche commercials. So
they're
this is
insane.
Yes.
They're like this narrow, and the buses are like that big. And you have little scooters that go around the bus. And they all must have a death wish because they're crazy.
They do seem to be crazy. Well, that was the thing about Rome, is there are no lanes except for right when you're at a light. Then people seem to get in lanes. But up until that spot, cars are just everywhere.
Yeah.
Scooters are everywhere. And when you're in a taxi, you're kind of holding onto that handle going, ooh, boy.
It's not the worst traffic situation I've
Wow.
ever experienced,
Yes.
but it's definitely a little bit stressful.
Yes. Okay, I think that's a good place to end.
Yep.
Oh, and today I took what may be my favorite picture of the trip so far.
Was
I mean,
it...
I really like the one I took in Manarola. I think that was Manarola. But this one that I'm showing you now might be my favorite picture of the whole trip.
Was it of cats?
Nope, wasn't of cats.
Okay.